Oh yeah, it may be getting close, but for me, for oil, when this does turn, it'll be starting a B or two. It won't be starting a wave five down because this is, to me, this is clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of A or one, and the weekly and daily have been showing that to me for a while. And you go to the weekly, this is not even looking like a correction. It's just straight up. And as you make your way down, you'll change the angle of things. So on the daily, it still looks like a trend, totally looks like a trend, 5-wave trend. Once you get to the 4-hour, you could try to imagine that it's a correction, but it's really, I don't think it is. If that does turn, there'll still be some profit in there. It's so, it's so clear on the weekly and that monthly pattern that I think that's over.
I know, it's kind of it's like there, and then right at the end, you don't trade it. Well, it got pretty crazy, didn't it? I mean, going negative and everything like that. Basically going to wait for a long opportunity at some point. That's the kind of the trade, really.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll probably never see those prices again.
I know. I mean, my plan had been to trade it down from 60 down to 20 and then from 20 back up to 100. And the 60 down to 20 didn't work out quite so well due to learning, and then it's kind of on its way going back up. But I'm still liking the gas trade that I think is coming up, and I still think that might go down a little bit. That one, as I showed yesterday, kind of the various wave fives that are in play. Yeah, I've got 4 charts on the gas which help kind of guide that, but at some point you need to make a decision that it's kind of the down turn is over, but I think it's not quite done yet. I actually pulled up futures contract for June 2021.
Natural gas daily, is that what it now looks like?
Yeah, that is the that's kind of it. Yeah.
It still hasn't, if this is accurate data, it still hasn't made the bottom on this one.
No, I think it's in the wave 5 now, 5 of 5. And it's a little bit complicated on the current, on that, which is the spot price. But once you start to go out to the June contract and the September and the December, it starts to get much clearer as to what's going on. I've even pulled in then the March 21 futures contract and the June 21 just to help guide me as to whether we are finished going down. But I think the spot price shows that we're probably not. It's all good. I think we're not gonna miss this one.
Looks like there's gonna be another move down, and that also would be one of those super risky ones.
Yeah,
it's got to be really close.
Yeah, I think we're actually in a wave 4 or 5 potentially.
Yeah, and then that could happen real abruptly.
I'll show you the futures contracts if you like, and it really, really helped clarify things for me. So this is the spot contract, which I think is probably not quite over. It's kind of this 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just heading down. I mean, whether we're going to get down to here. We've also got this major trend line here, which is tenting down at 1 dot wherever it is, 0.8. So I think we're going to probably see this price down here on this spot one. But when you go out to
that's still a long way.
It is, yeah. Well, it's kind of 0.4. Out to the June 2020. Then the pattern starts to become much clearer. And this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5, which is now in kind of an area where it's actually 127% of that wave 1. And, this is kind of in the zone where it could start to think about turning. But it probably is a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we've got another wave down, and then you go to the September contract, and you go, okay, we haven't. It's the same pattern, but we haven't got to the low. Obviously, it might not, and that's what happens the further out you go. But it still kind of looks like it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got another wave down, and then you go out to the December contract, and this is where you start looking at it and going, okay, this is not going to make a new low. This has kind of bottomed out, and we're probably looking for an ABC here. And it's kind of part of me goes, oh, is that it? Hit the 38. But I think given that we've got this, we've got this extra move down on the shorter term contracts, I'm sure that will pull this down. And then when I go out to the March 21, I'm like, okay, we've not hit 38 here. And this kind of looks like this could make another drop down here. Maybe if this is A, hit the 21, hit 23, B, and we're kind of in the C. And then when I go out to the June 21, I'm like, okay, we've got some way to go down to the 38. So where I'm thinking on this is that we're going to get the wave 5 of 5 on the shorter term contracts, and it might be a wave 5 of C on the longer term. And I'll be looking for it getting, this is a place here on this on the 38 where I'll be like looking for, because I'm thinking to trade the longer term contracts. This is where I'd be looking for a long, and potentially as I go shorter. I mean, these are all kind of similar. These are all just corrections. And yeah, I mean, this is September 2020. I mean, that will come around pretty quick. So I'm thinking kind of stay out longer. So that's kind of my take on it all.
Yeah, morning, Damien. How you doing, mate?
Good.
Yeah. No, good analysis, that and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I think pretty much spot on, really. The kind of like looking at it from a fundamental point of view and things like that. We're at the in the gas build phase of the sort of cycle and things like that. So I think you're absolutely right. We're going to get another pop down, and then people will start looking at the forward contracts, September, December, and thinking, right, got to start buying stuff up for winter. And also then it will be clearer how the sort of shutdowns and things like that on the wells, on the oil wells and things has affected the supply of gas. And then it will start building up from there, I would have thought. Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of like all in agreement with all that.
Great. I mean, I'm liking the fact that I've got a lot of different kind of validation conflict, basically. So yeah, I'm just kind of watching it at the moment and going, well, gotta see this come down another leg, gotta see this one come down, and then then I'll be watching essentially for an end of trend on this, and hopefully a C wave over here, and I think it could be a very profitable and kind of straightforward trade. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a long term one, that, The only thing to just think about, we're talking about in a couple of months' time or so, but as we sort of get to the nadir of the summer heat and all that sort of thing, that's the time to sort of take profits and things, and then it'll probably pull back,
right, sure.
again, and then you'll get into the winter sort of contract sort of environment and things. That's the only sort of thing. But we're talking a couple of months away, sort of thing.
I guess in terms of time frame, I mean, I'm imagining this is going to probably something like that. I mean, what is that? That's kind of end of May. Could drag out here.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, one point possibility is that it does the double trend line here. That is mid-June. Either way, that's a month. That feels a bit long, but so I think this trade is probably two weeks away.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. Over the next couple of weeks or so, and that's when people start doing drawdowns for heat and things like that. Get their air conditioners on.
And this is like this one gives us some guidance on timing, because this is kind of A, where this started here, and that was like a 3-day cycle there.
Yeah.
So what's the normal date for the lows, for seasonal lows? July or June?
Sorry, say that again, Scott.
What's the normal date for a seasonal low every year? Is it in July?
What, as far as the price is concerned and things?
Yeah, just for a normal seasonal low.
Yeah.
It's always-
So what you do is if you think about the so middle of summer, you got to think it about sort of 6 to 8 weeks in advance. So if you're thinking about July, August, which is the sort of high heat of the summer and things like that. But the forward contracts, they're looking into September, and that's in the fall, and that's when the temperatures are most moderate. It's from the transition from winter to summer and from summer to winter. Those are when the lows come in. But you've got to think about sort of 6 weeks or so in advance. So if you're looking for the sort of low air, which is going to be September, October, you're going to see the prices start coming down and things like that, sort of end of July, August. And then as we've seen here, it's a little bit disrupted this year, obviously, with everything else going on. But sort of, April, May is the sort of turnover from the winter cold to the summer heat. So you're going to get a dip where we are now, and then it picks up again in the summer when air conditioning and all that sort of thing and the power plants are running. So it's basically spring and autumn are the lows, if you think of it in those terms.
So yeah. Anyway, I think we'll get a good track on this, and definitely keep my eye on this. I'm really excited about this as a trade.
Yeah.
I am going to trade the longer term contracts out here, basically because I think I probably will. If it bottoms out, I will stick my stop, kind of down here. And, in the scheme of things, that's going to be a fairly good risk reward. And obviously I'll be able to, hopefully move it up very quickly to kind of get under the, once this happens here. I mean, it may even wait a good turn, but I'll start kind of seriously considering getting in when this looks to kind of end its correction.
Can you just go on the daily time frame on that for me, Damien?
On the longer term contract.
Yeah. You see, I mean, the only thing that I would there you go. The only thing I'd kind of say with this sort of thing is don't get too finicky about 4 hours and 8 hours and all that business. You really want to be looking at days and weeks, because what tends to happen is that, you're talking, yes, there are traders and things like that, but they're trading for very specific purposes and supplies and all that sort of thing. So there will be some players that will come in and they're not really worried about what he's doing but buyers are not worried about what's happening on the 4 to 8 hours. It's on the daily and the weekly, and they'll go, right, I want 200 million barrels of oil for March 2021, or 500 million cubic feet of gas for August 2020, or whatever it is.
I just need to squeeze my kind of like 500 barrels in there or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's not happening. It's really sort of concentrate on the sort of dailies upwards. I would suggest.
Yeah. No, that's good advice, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm doing this macro kind of, various kind of analysis over the various contracts, and once I've decided that I think we're going to get a very clear signal on this. I think this will show the trigger as a hairline, and then I'm just going to be like, right, that's it. I mean, I think they are quite correlated in terms of turns. It's just that they're at different stages of the cycle.
Yeah.
So
no, it's excellent work there, mate. Excellent work.
Those are the oil contracts longer term. That is June 21.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking when I don't know whether this has bottomed out. It kind of looks a little bit corrective in some respects. So, I mean, this is the one that, possibly to say, well, the low's in. I mean, at 29 and it's at 34, and it's a long way out. And, I'm like, we haven't seen some. It's possible that this has actually turned as well, and if it hasn't, well, stick a low there. I mean, and then the 2020. I was wondering whether this might end up doing a kind of a like this, and I've kind of in some ways, whilst I would one of my reasons wanting to trade oil is because I felt like I've analysed it to death from the high down to the low, and I kind of feel it owes me, But the problem is that the swap, the swap, and even the trading margins on oil are so ridiculous now that it's just.
Did you have a look at that IG thing on the spread betting thing?
I've got to open up a new account with them, so
do that, because that's. I mean, what I've sort of done with this is, yes, it could sort of float around that sort of price for some time, I suppose, until they get the coronavirus sorted out. But the point I think that Scott said earlier, when are you going to get oil at these prices? A lot of people are shutting in, all that sort of thing. It is very much. Whereas in Forex we're looking at kind of like day-to-day activity and things like that. Again, it's what baselines are the big boys looking at, and so you got to, don't forget that you're going to have people holding off oil and storing oil and contango plays and all this sort of kind of business going on. So Trafigura will have probably about 600 million barrels of oil on floating storage off California and things like that. They're all waiting, and that's how a lot of people make their money. Well, most people actually make a lot of money.
I did speak to them.
What, Trafigura?
No, IG.
Oh. Can I have the Trafigura trick? Yes, I'm interested in 2 billion barrels of oil, please.
But they told me the swap rates were the same. They were even higher than on my FX Open.
But is that for the futures or the daily?
Maybe it was just for the daily.
Because on the day, I'm not experiencing that. I know exactly what you're talking about with the futures contracts.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at it later on this morning. Just make sure I'm not doing anything daft here.
Yeah, okay.
I think you have to specify the spread betting account, like Liam was saying, because they have regular accounts.
They have, yeah.
Yeah.
And mine would probably have been a normal account. I don't know if it would be spread betting, but yeah.
Tax-free.
I never understood that spread betting thing, but if it is just to eliminate you having to pay those extra taxes or whatever it is.
Yeah, you see, Scott, they have we're slightly different from the US in the sense that gambling doesn't incur tax. So what they did is they made a spread, like an inverted commas spread betting thing, so you can avoid paying any tax on any profits that you make on it.
But the actual trading is the same?
The trading's basically exactly the same. It's not on an MT4 platform, but it's pretty much there or thereabouts. And what they do, I think what Liam is looking at is that they have a number of sort of different contracts, and you've got the normal futures contracts, which is what the big problem with the brokers that we're talking about here is, with huge swaps and all that sort of kind of thing. Whereas if you do the daily spot price on my experience at the moment, I'm going to check this morning, is if you do the daily spot price, DFB, I think it is on IG, they call it daily for whatever, then it's more akin to what we're used to on the Forex, in the sense that you get charged a small percentage overnight sort of kind of thing. That's up. Well, I'm not saying it's completely cheap, but it's not like the insane stuff that we were getting on the futures contracts on the MT4 platforms.
And there's nothing shady about a spread betting account, just a different terminology.
No, this is just different terminology. You find that a lot of the MT4 account holders. So, for instance, the one that I've got is with Hargreaves Lansdowne, which uses the IG platform. So those are two very big companies, and they're regulated by the FCA and all that, Financial Conduct Authority. And you got the guarantee of I think it's £80,000 if they go bust on your savings and all that sort of kind of thing. So it's legitimate. Yeah, it's not some bloke in a raincoat offering you a ticket and taking 20 quid off you and all that sort of thing at the races.